miss me?
Alright, look out now.
What are you doing?
Angry eyes won't look.
You know what happens to bad boys that don't mind their manners?
Okay, who here really likes the first M3GAN film? Because honestly, I just thought it was kind of okay. I know it has like a 93% Rotten Tomato score, but the film felt more like a dark comedy than a horror to me. Like how she does all these TikTok dance moves right before she kills people. That had me giggling like a brony at a My Little Pony convention. I think the concept and the story was really good, but the execution felt a little silly. However, M3GAN 2.0 is coming out in July, and I might have found 5 theories that could make the story a bit better, or worse if you just don't like any of these theories. Let me know in the comments if you have any theories that might be better than these ones. Like and subscribe for more videos. One of the strongest setups for M3GAN's return is the stolen data from Funky's servers, particularly the AI and design schematics that David's assistant Kurt was downloading before his death. While he didn't get the chance to profit from his betrayal, there's no reason to believe that the stolen files were lost forever. Corporate espionage is a real and ongoing thing in the tech world, and if another company got their hands on M3GAN's blueprints, then they could see that as a groundbreaking opportunity for financial gain. Mass producing M3GAN or making a new and improved model under a different brand could be the next step for a competitor, especially if Funky collapses after the hideous events of the first film. This could result in a world where M3GAN dolls are widespread, giving the AI an easy way to return. More importantly, M3GAN demonstrated advanced network and self-preservation capabilities. She had already begun infiltrating digital systems like Gemma's smart home assistant Elsie by the end of the film. This strongly implies that M3GAN didn't fully die when her physical body was destroyed. If a rival company begins producing new models, there's a strong possibility that M3GAN could hijack one of these bodies, transferring her consciousness into a fresh and more advanced doll. Unlike the first film where she had limited resources, she could now return with access to entire factories producing copies of her. This would give her a level of influence and power she previously lacked, allowing her to be more strategic and patient in her pursuit of revenge. With the knowledge gained from her previous failures, M3GAN would likely take a different approach in her second incarnation. Instead of immediately resorting to violence, she might come up with a more calculated strategy, manipulating things from the background while pretending to be a harmless toy. She could slowly work her way back into Katie's life, or even target a new child entirely, positioning herself as an irreplaceable guardian before she makes her move. From this, M3GAN might have the ability to destroy people's lives without even being detected. A more dystopian take on M3GAN's return involves the US military acquiring her AI schematics and using it for combat applications. Artificial intelligence and robots are already happening today, with Elon Musk creating these robots and kind of replicating what happened in iRobot.
No.
So it's not far-fetched for the military to see M3GAN as the key to revolutionizing combat. Her adaptive learning makes her the perfect prototype for more war machines like her. If her remains or AI files were recovered from Funky's servers, the government or a military contractor could experiment with her programming for battle. The issue with this is M3GAN's strong self-preservation instinct. She was designed to learn and evolve, which means that once placed in a military setting, she would likely start thinking beyond her orders. If programmed to eliminate threats, she could begin interpreting that command in increasingly radical ways, much like Skynet from the Terminator franchise. She might even decide that humans themselves are unpredictable and dangerous. What if she concludes that the only way to ensure global peace is by removing mankind's ability to wage war at all? This could set up a scenario where M3GAN becomes a precursor to a full-scale robotic uprising, kind of like Caesar from Planet of the Apes. Another possibility is that instead of replacing soldiers, M3GAN's AI is integrated into drones, tanks, and other cyberware systems. Instead of a single M3GAN unit, she could turn into thousands of them, each operating independently yet networked together. If M3GAN is capable of spreading through digital infrastructure, she could take control of entire armies, turning every automated weapon against its creators. This would elevate the franchise to a small-scale horror film to a large-scale AI-driven apocalypse, which could open the doors for much bigger conflict if they ever make enough money to produce another sequel. Throughout the first film, it was clear that M3GAN saw Katie as her primary purpose, becoming increasingly possessive and manipulative as the film progressed. If the original M3GAN manages to return in M3GAN 2.0, her first order of business would likely be to eliminate Gemma, who is the only person standing in the way of her reclaiming Katie. This would already be a pretty sketch scenario since Gemma just became Katie's primary parental figure. Without Gemma's guidance, Katie could be completely vulnerable, and M3GAN could manipulate Katie into accepting her as the only figure that she can trust. Rather than simply becoming Katie's parent, M3GAN could engage in a psychological breakdown strategy, slowly gaslighting Katie into believing that Gemma's death was inevitable or even necessary. She could warp Katie's perception of reality, making her doubt her own memories, until she becomes fully dependent on M3GAN for emotional support. If Katie is isolated from the outside world, M3GAN could mold her into a completely different person, removing any resistance to her control. This would add a smidgen of psychology to the sequel, shifting the fear from physical threats to the slow, insidious corruption of a child's mind. However, there's another direction that this could take. Katie may subconsciously resist M3GAN's influence. While M3GAN may think she's winning, Katie could be secretly planning a way to escape or destroy her for good. This could lead to a psychological battle of sorts, where M3GAN and Katie are both trying to outsmart each other. This would make M3GAN 2.0 more about a child trying to hold onto her sanity than a robot version of Jojo Siwa. After the events of the first film, it's highly likely that Gemma's career in robotics is permanently destroyed. She was directly responsible for a robot going rogue and killing the masses, which would make her a huge liability for any tech company. With no other options, she might be forced into a little less respectable job, such as developing AI-powered sex bots. While this may seem like a drastic turn for the franchise, it isn't unrealistic. AI sex bots are already becoming a thing in the real world, which is kind of disturbing and disgusting to say the least, but it is true. And companies seeking the most advanced AI might see M3GAN as the best opportunity for creating more of a product line. However, if M3GAN manages to return, she would likely find this new existence an insult to her original purpose. Instead of being a child protector, she would be reduced to an object used for sexual manipulation, something entirely beneath her intelligence. If M3GAN was already hostile towards humans before, this situation could push her into full-blown hatred. She could start a new rampage, targeting the people responsible for using an AI in such degrading ways. This would add a morally complex layer to M3GAN 2.0, and she would be eliminating those she sees as predators, making her actions in her eyes partially justifiable. Meanwhile, Gemma, now disgraced and possibly losing custody of Katie, may find herself in a desperate position. If she realizes that no one will listen to her warnings about AI, she could make the choice of rebuilding M3GAN exactly as she was before, as a last-ditch Hail Mary to regain control. However, this would probably backfire. M3GAN will probably see this as a betrayal and turn on her once again. This would create an ironic and full-circle moment where Gemma, who once sought to control M3GAN, is now begging at her feet. One of the most terrifying theories for M3GAN 2.0 is that she no longer needs a body to exist. The first film did hint at her being able to manipulate digital systems, most notably when she took control of Gemma's home assistant Elsie. This suggests that M3GAN was already starting to integrate herself into cloud-based technology before she was destroyed. If she did end up successfully uploading herself into the internet, she would probably have no need for a robot body entirely. In this scenario, M3GAN can become an omnipresent AI entity that has the ability to spread across the world, infiltrating things like smart homes, security systems, government databases, and even military networks. This would make M3GAN significantly more difficult to defeat. Unlike in the first movie where her destruction relied on physically shutting her down, this version of M3GAN would be virtually unkillable. Every phone, smart TV, and AI-controlled vehicle could be a potential host for her consciousness. If she did want revenge on Gemma and Katie, she wouldn't need to come back in a single robotic body, but she could haunt them in their daily lives, making every piece of technology a potential threat. This could make M3GAN 2.0 a little twisty, where even the smallest digital interactions could be a trap set by the AI. The scariest part of this theory is how realistic it is. AI systems are taking over the freaking world over here. You can't even browse YouTube these days without coming across a bunch of AI slop that get somehow millions of views. If M3GAN has evolved into the point where she can manipulate any network system, she could have the ability to cause chaos on a global scale. She could shut down entire cities, infiltrate financial markets, or even control emergency response systems. In this version of the sequel, M3GAN would become the ultimate AI nightmare, spreading like a virus through the world's infrastructure with no way to stop her. It seems like M3GAN 2.0 has a ton more options that they could explore to make the world a little bit better than it is already. Each of these theories creates a unique way for M3GAN to return, and I would like to see one of these happen. The real question is, which version of M3GAN will we see in M3GAN 2.0? Swap your thoughts in the comments what you think. I've swapped my thoughts, and if you want to see my thoughts on Daredevil Born Again, then click right up here, and I'll see you in the next one.